So guys, it was New Year's. I had a few days off from work and I thought, you know, what better way to ring in the new year than to go on a little trip? And because I don't care to drive a little bit, I set my sights on the Guadalupe Mountains National Park way over in Texas. Guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm so happy the algorithm decided to dump this steaming load of chunky photographical goodness right into your lap. Consensually, of course. Today, we're gonna go on a little adventure. So the Guadalupe Mountains over in Texas are the tallest mountains in Texas and also contain the high point in the state. They're also on the border there with New Mexico, really close to Carlsbad Caverns National Park as well. Something else that's interesting is I'd actually bought a new camera for this, and it's the one sitting just underneath my shoulder here. It's my Mamiya M645. At this point, you've probably seen it all around the channel, but I actually filmed this a couple weeks ago. But I bought this camera, not really because I needed the camera, but because I'm generally terrible with money. This quick little trip would give me a chance to put the camera through its paces and to get a taste of the open road. As I crossed the border, I stopped at a gas station to, you know, fill up, and I quickly discovered that not everything is bigger in Texas. Eventually though, I made it into the park, and just as I did, the sun began to set. For one time in my life, the timing had actually worked out for me. Knowing that I would only have an hour or two to shoot, I hastily loaded a roll of Portra 160 into the back of my new Mamiya M645 and started taking pictures. Being who I am, I didn't look at a map or anything, but I did find that there was a short trail located right beside the visitor center, and because I'm out of shape, I thought this is going to be a pretty good place to start. Because all there is in Kentucky is lots of trees and grass, I was excited for the change of scenery. Lots of sand and cactuses. Cacti? It's a stupid sounding word. I was also pretty pumped that I was going to be out of work for a few days. So for just a bit, life was actually okay. Since I've been cramped up in a car for the better part of 2 days, I was actually happy to just be out walking around for a few minutes. As soon as I got on the trail, I found the first composition I liked. This valley between the mountains. It's late December and I just left the frozen tundra of eastern Kentucky. My journey through the west so far had seen pretty nice weather. The temperatures have been great, 60s or 70s. But as I'd got to Guadalupe Mountains National Park, things had started to change. You'll notice in a lot of the video clips that there's a huge shelf of clouds kind of descending into the frame. And along with those clouds, it seemed like lots of really cold air. Unfortunately, this would only be the start of my weather troubles for this trip. It's called foreshadowing. I moved on down the trail, and I also liked this prominent rock outcropping composition with this dead tree. While there wasn't much in the way of a golden hour, we did have sort of a purple hour. The sky had done its best to turn the color of a grape Jolly Rancher, which despite being objectively the worst color of Jolly Rancher, turned out to be a pretty neat sky. And I think with the colors of Portra 160, it kind of looked all right. Nothing like feeling the wind in your hair after 3 days of not taking a shower. And with the wind, the temperature fell off a cliff. Pretty soon, it was as cold as a witch's tit. It's a stupid expression. It's a stupid expression. Why do we say that? Anyway, I noticed out of the corner of my eye my favorite tree named after a biblical character. There were several Joshua trees on the side of the trail. I wasn't aware that these had escaped from their national park, but I was pretty happy to see them. Along with the 35mm 2.8 lens for my Mamiya 645, I also bought the famous 80mm 1.9, which I've done a review of already at this point. That way I could get some sweet, sweet bokeh behind the Joshua tree. As I was fumbling around the edge of the trail setting up that last shot, I noticed a skull. After freaking out for a second, I've had too many murder cases at this point, I realized it was just a deer or an antelope or a zebra, but definitely not a human. I held a brief memorial, and then I snapped this photo. I kind of felt like a lot of these photos had an African savanna vibe, you know? Which would make sense given the zebra skull. Shot's nothing fancy, but hey, we out here. I really like this cholla, which is also in bloom. It's like a cactus bush thing that makes these neat little yellow blooms. Really a pretty, kind of unique piece of vegetation out there. And I thought this was a cool shot. I know a lot of you are impressed with me identifying that as a cholla. I got a C+ in botany in college. There's more where that came from. Purple Jolly Rancher sky getting more and more saturated. Lots of clouds and the colors were kind of weird. After a fun couple hours of, taking crappy pics, my luck finally ran out and it just got dark. And also, I was freaking starving too. So I decided I would drive back to Carlsbad, New Mexico, again, like 20 minutes down the road, grab something to eat. Like I said earlier, this was actually my first time shooting with the Mamiya M645. Bought it on a whim, and I have to say that it was a really terrific experience. The camera works exactly like you think it should. In fact, I already put out a review on the camera, so by all means, check that out. Let's talk about the film that I shot though. In this video, I only shot Portra 160. Spend much time on YouTube or around the film community. You'll notice that Portra 400 is actually the one that gets all the love. I think that's misguided. Portra 160 is great too, and I love those really subdued, desaturated tones that you get with 160. Everything's kind of turns into an orangish green kind of, I don't know, really cool colors. I think we should make it a thing. I think more of us should shoot Portra 160. Cleaner and sharper than 400. I like it. It's good. I also think it's a tad cooler than Portra. I don't mind. I'm here for it. I wrapped up the day with the only way that I knew how, and that was with a rotisserie chicken from a small local establishment. Stay tuned for the next video where we're going to get on Route 66 and cause all sorts of ruckus. But hey, thanks for watching.